Hey guys, Lena and Eliav here.
Hello, welcome to our video.
We are pumped to be here today because we've been doing a lot of brainstorming and thinking and reflecting on what are the biggest elements that we've been able to incorporate into our business in order to produce at such a high and efficient level. So we are going to be talking about that. We're going to be breaking it down into 2 core steps for you guys. One of them is a core idea that has literally transformed our productivity, transformed our mindset, and our confidence around what it is that we do and how we work together. And the second piece is a more tangible piece that you absolutely have to have if you want to ensure that you are crushing your goals week after week, month after month, and not just letting things, fall by the wayside.
Should we jump right to it?
Let's jump right into it.
So the biggest mindset shift that you can create will be to commit yourself into massive action. Lena, would you like to explain a little bit more about massive action?
Yeah, so massive action is this idea that Eliav and I have literally become obsessed with, and like I said, it's transformed the way that we think about our lives and our businesses. And what's so cool about this idea, sorry guys, Alabama is really needing for the attention right now, classic. But massive action is a really simple idea, but when it's applied with power, it's going to change everything in your business, how much you're able to achieve, and how you feel about those achievements. So massive action is the idea that if you have not yet achieved a certain goal, it is for one reason and one reason only, and that is because you and you alone have not taken the necessary steps to get there. It doesn't mean that you can't do it, or that you should quit or give up when you start feeling insecure, or overwhelmed, or tired, or you're getting all this feedback that you should just stop and go back to your 9 to 5. None of that matters. The only thing keeping you between you and your clear target objective are the action steps that you have or haven't taken yet. And so again, if you haven't reached that goal yet, it's not because you aren't good enough or smart enough or capable or for any other external circumstance or reason. It's for the one reason that you just haven't taken enough action. And when you think of it like that, it completely eliminates this fear of failure because there is no failure, right? You just keep going and going and going until you reach the goal. And if a certain strategy or action doesn't work, you just pivot and you do something differently, but you don't stop until you reach that goal. And so instead of putting all this pressure on yourself about, failure isn't an option, that's just really overwhelming and scary. Instead, just think there is no option for failure because we're just going to keep taking action until we get there, and I know that I'm the only one responsible for reaching that goal.
Yes, definitely. The most important part is that it takes away the stress. It makes sure that you know exactly what is the one next step that you do in order to get to your goals. And you know that you are not going to stop. You're always one step away until you get into that goal and until you achieve it. So in this way, you don't have to be stressed, you don't have to be worried, you don't have to feel the guilt or the shame about doing or not doing things, because you know that the only thing that matters is the one next step that will take you to your end goal. And if you're still not in your end goal, that means that you just need to keep on taking those steps.
Yeah, and I think what's really cool about it also is there's no judgment. Most of the time when we're trying to reach a goal and we feel like we're struggling or we feel like things aren't working, it's so easy to beat ourselves up and wonder, well, is there something wrong with me? Is there something wrong with my market, with my messaging, with my funnels? It's so easy to dissect and judge and criticize every little thing in your business when you're looking at it from that perspective. But the thing is that it isn't any reflection of anything. It's a very neutral situation, and you get to choose to see it as, well, I'm receiving all of this feedback, or this is really hard for me, therefore I'm going to see it negatively and give up and get overwhelmed and quit. Or you can say, okay, well, this is really great, but none of it actually matters, and I'm just going to use this as fuel to keep going. And also, if somebody told you, by the way, that it took you 100 times, let's think of sales for an example, because I think that that's relevant for a lot of people. A lot of people get frustrated or overwhelmed when they don't close sales, especially consistently, and they judge themselves over it. But the thing is, if you just shifted your mindset toward that and said, well, in order to get a yes from somebody, I need to get 5 no's first, or 10 no's first, or 100 no's first, then you would no longer be discouraged by all those no's. You would be excited to rack them up because you knew it got you that much closer to your high ticket yes. And so it's just a mindset shift, and that's really, really important when you're looking at any project in your business or any goal or any objective, to just remember massive action. Today, am I taking action no matter what to get me closer to that goal, no matter what scarcity ideas are coming up, whatever fear, whatever judgment, no matter what happens, am I still going to take that action to get there? And that's how you reach that goal so much faster.
And if you won't commit into massive action, what's going to happen is that every no along the way that you're going to get is going to set off this spiral situation that is going to make you feel bad about yourself, that is going to make you second guess, it's going to make you to feel that your confidence is vulnerable and feeling like you don't like what you do and you don't like who you are and the way that you presented yourself. While you're committed to massive action, those things doesn't have to worry you because you know the big long-term goal and you know the measurable steps that you're taking right now at this moment in order to make that happen. And if it's still not here, then it means that you haven't taken enough steps. That's like the most important part of it. So every time that I feel frustrated, every time that in my business and in my life I feel like something is not right, I know that it's not my fault, that it's not the fault of the people that surround me, that it's not the fault of the object that surrounds me. It's the only reason is why I haven't taken enough steps to make sure that I'm reaching that goal.
Yeah, and I think a piece of what you said that's so important is the measurable steps. So that doesn't mean, you guys, when you have a goal, you just have to go out there and start like throwing stuff at the walls and seeing what sticks. Like that's not the point of massive action. It's to be really clear on what is the goal and then what are these steps that I need to take in order to get there. And if one avenue doesn't work, then what's my plan B? How am I going to pivot? Having that foresight is what's allowed us to literally more than quadruple our income last year than the year before, okay? It's what's allowed us to grow so much efficiently, to grow our team, to get featured in bigger media places, speaking gigs, like all the good stuff, right, that we all want. It's literally because we figured out how to dial in our measured action plans, which leads us into the more tangible piece of what Eliav and I do. So this is kind of like a behind the scenes, a strategy that we started implementing, I don't know, a while ago.
Yeah, a couple of months ago, maybe the beginning of 2018, and it's been with us ever since, and it's been amazing.
It's changed everything, guys.
Yeah, we call it our weekly money meeting, and in this meeting, we're just opening up everything that we have to do over the week. We know how much money we're going to get, we know how much money we're going to spend, we know how many leads we have that we need to follow up with, how many emails do we need to write, what content is there for us this week. We know when we put down on this list everything that we know that we need to concentrate on this week in order to reach our long-term goals. And when we do that, throughout the week, we're able to kind of like check up the marks and make sure that we're hitting those goals. And then you never get lost. Every time that you feel bored or that you feel like you don't know what to do or that you feel like, what am I doing now that will take me into where I want to be? You know that it's all written on that page.
Yeah, it has made such a big difference because how many of us, you guys, like how many of you guys have woken up one morning and you're like, what am I supposed to be doing today? You know, there's so many things to do and I feel totally overwhelmed. Like I hear this from people in the LAC community literally all the time. Like I feel like there's so much I could be doing, but I don't know how to prioritize and I don't know how to get organized. And so if you're waking up every day without a clear plan for what needs to be accomplished by the end of the day, then you're not going to have that foresight and you're not going to be able to have those measurable goals. So we know by the end of the week, every single thing that's on our to-do list, cash flow wise, client wise, fulfillment wise, marketing wise, funnels, everything, every single one of those things is checked off by the end of the week because we really dove into the micro, getting really, really clear on the step-by-step that we need in order to get there. And you know why I think a lot of people don't do this actually, which is interesting? I think it's uncomfortable for a lot of people to sit down and like open up their bank account and open up, you know, their email list, their open rate, stuff like that. That can be really like scary to see the cold hard truth, especially if you don't necessarily feel like you're reaching the level of success that you want to at this point. That can make you feel really vulnerable, but you guys have to get comfortable with getting uncomfortable because if you don't have these insights and you don't know specifically where you stand and you don't have a step-by-step game plan to reach a specific goal, then it's going to take you so much longer or you'll just never get there.
Yeah, and even if one thing scares you and you feel uncomfortable to like track your bank account or track your leads or track your closed sales or anything else, then you should know that while you do that as a whole in your business and you're looking at everything, you will always find things that you are more proud of, and you will always find things that will lift up your spirit, because obviously you're doing something that you like and you do something that you believe in. So there's gonna be a lot of positive validation over there in those meetings, and it will be the gas that you need, the fuel that you need in order to get through the weekend, to make sure that it's productive. Because we know that as we scale our business, we are no longer doing everything on our own, and things get spread around with other people, with our accountant, with our lawyer, with service providers that we work with, and it's almost like sometimes too hard to manage. So when we do that, we're making sure that we know everything that needs to be happened this week, and then we know that we feel on top of it. So we go to our Mondays and we're comfortable, we're positive that we are going to make impact this week, and so should you.
Yeah, that's where confidence comes from, you guys. It's knowing where you stand, and it's seeing that you're actively making progress. If you aren't making progress, if you're staying stagnant in your business week after week or month after month, then of course you're not going to feel good about that, right? So the way that you gain that momentum, the way you get the confidence and constant excitement in your business, no matter how long you've been in this business for, or no matter what results you've gotten, that's what you have to do in order to get there and to make it happen. So those, you guys, are our 2 massive secrets that have allowed us to literally more than quadruple since last year. And I know that you guys can do this too. And keep in mind, yes, Eliav and I work together very closely, but you can also do these things on your own. You can commit to massive action without anybody else in your life confirming that this is what you should do or deciding that this is a good approach. You can have these weekly meetings without needing anybody else's support. You have the power to do that. So I want you guys to really internalize these 2 things and see how you can integrate them into your daily, weekly, and monthly routine. And I want you guys to watch the magic happen. So thanks so much for being here, you guys.
Yes, and comment below, what is your money meeting for the week? How are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? Are you going to sit down and drink coffee? Are you going to do that in your bed? Are you going to do it in your office? Make sure to include us in your money meeting process.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Much love from Lena and Eliav, and we'll talk soon.